we've got Fire Prevention Week starts Monday, I guess.
Right.
And that every single fall, usually, I'm not going to lie, the reason I end up changing my batteries is because they start screaming at me. And that's about the only time I remember to change them is when they're screaming at me. So today, we'll remind everybody without having to scream at them. How about that? Because I'll tell you, my house burnt when I was a kid, and that is something I wouldn't want anybody to live through. If they can at least help it at all. So that's something that you want to remind everybody about today, right?
Right. The fire alarm batteries, the smoke detector batteries, the carbon monoxide batteries, getting your chimney checked, chimney sweep if it needs to be, burn the logs that cleans the chimney, changing the air filter on your air unit. It's that time of year again.
That can make it. I know some people. Well, these are gas logs; they're so safe and that sort of thing. And of course, I don't even. This is Donnie Adams for Adams Contracting. I don't know if I even said that or not. But the builds up. There's still soot that builds up from those things.
Yes, there's a lot of soot, and even though it says it's ventless, it's still putting off something into the room. So you need to make sure you've got that protection with the carbon monoxide detector. In that room at least where you've got the ventless gas logs, because it does still put off. If you ever look at your ceiling, it'll be starting to turn a yellowish color before the end of the winter if you paint it before you start and after you start, and that's those fumes that are escaping into the room. I mean, it's got to go somewhere.
So I've been told that carbon monoxide is the higher chance of it is in the winter versus the summer a lot of times, because we really don't open anything up. We shut it up real tight.
Right. And then, like I said, you've got those open flames. Just like when you're cooking in the summertime with your gas stoves. You've got a window opener if you got an air unit on or whatever, but now you're trying to heat your kitchen with your gas stove because it's not really cold enough to turn the heater on, but it's too cold to run around in there without any heat at all. So people are using their gas stoves to try to heat it with a little bit. And they open the oven, let that heat come out. Well, you're also letting those gas fumes come out because there is not a vent there. It kind of just takes away the purpose of turning your vent above your stove on if you're trying to heat with it. So carbon monoxide is one of those things that just kind of builds up, and it's not anything we can smell. No, you don't. You can't detect it unless you've got a detector. You just walk into it, and then you start to feel the effects of it, the headache and dizziness and stuff like that. You really don't. You can't see it, you can't smell it, and you can't taste it.
Well, that's not fair. They at least make our gas smell like rotten eggs. That's not fair. It's like cheating.
Right.
But they're pretty inexpensive as far as, losing your house and dying versus putting in a decent detector. How much do those things run?
You can get them as cheap as $8, $9, $10 if you go to some of the off-price stores and closeout sales and stuff like that. Or you can buy up to a $50 one, but you get what you pay for. And $50 for the peace of mind and the well-being of my family and knowing that there's not a gas there, I'll spend the $50. That's 5 cups of coffee from some of these big box stores. So, Well,
and when you think, I know a lot of people, I don't have a gas stove, so I don't have to worry about carbon monoxide. Is that true?
No, you still get carbon monoxide. You can get it from your water heater if you got a gas water heater, things like that. And you can still get rayon gas that can still come up. And if you got a car that's in the garage, and you start your car every morning, let it warm up, and then you open the doors, carbon monoxide can come from the car into the house.
I didn't even think about that.
Or if you leave the door open between your house and your garage so that you can run in and out or whatever, and the car's out there running and warming up, then those fumes, if you don't have something stuck to the exhaust pipe to let it out, those fumes are coming up in the house.
How'd you get so smart, Donnie Adams?
That's what
I want to know.
I know a lot of people.
He knows people. That's what it is. He works on stuff and he knows things. That's what Donnie does. But going back to the heater thing, every year it seems like, especially my dad and I, God bless him. Daddy, I love you, but I'm going to tattle on us. When it comes time to take all them logs out of that gas insert, clean the entire fireplace, scrub it all down, make sure we get the little, I guess where the gas comes out.
Orifice.
You got to make the orifice. That's the word I'm looking for. You got to clean all of those, and then you got to stack them all just right, because if you got them in a little bit hinky, that's not going to be good either. And then you try to light the thing for the first time, and you're trying to hold down one button and turn upside down in your head and reach the pilot light. Just call somebody.
Right.
That's what I told Dad the other day, because he said, you know what, we're going to have to light the pilot on this thing. I was like, okay, you just need to call somebody. Really. Because we're at the point now where I've actually heard of a couple of people. There's been a couple of fires started lately with people trying to start or just at least put the pilot light on these gas logs.
Right. And see, right now, if you do it now, you can open your doors and your windows, and that stink that you get the first time you light it,
Yeah.
you got your doors and windows open, so that's gone pretty quick.
Well, and that's true, too. And I've also saw a lot of used gas log inserts
Right.
that are being sold and only used a couple of times, or this gas insert. Is that something that really and truly somebody needs to be going and buying used and putting in by themselves?
In my opinion, I wouldn't buy something that's that critical used. Some people can't afford anything else, and I understand that. It needs to be certified, checked over. Somebody somewhere needs to know exactly what's going on. You can get adapters and you can hook a small tank to it outside and light it and make sure it works.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Before you ever carry it into your house, the folders have got attachments that you can change it over to like a 30-pound cylinder, like on your barbecue grill.
Right.
Light it outside. Make sure it works. If it blows up, at least it's out there.
Donnie Adams, that's the best idea ever. I didn't even think about that. So you can put these gas, the inserts, those pretty little inserts.
Right.
And you can hook them up to like a gas grill bottle.
Right.
And test it out outside. If it blows up, it blows up. It's outside.
The tank that you've got on your grill already has a regulator attached to it, so you don't even have to have the regulator. You just have to have the fittings to change it over from the size of gas line that you normally use to what's coming from the tank. So you just have to have a couple of fittings, $15. You can test it out in your yard, light it, make sure it works, let it burn, get rid of the smells and stinks, and make sure there's no issues with the regulator that's on the stove itself, or make sure it's not going to flare. The flare is the bad thing. If you've got a hole, or if they've had it stored in their basement or they've had it stored in their garage, the pipe where the flames actually come out of, those can rust out, and now you've getting one big flame instead of all these little pretty small flames.
Oh,
that's the best way to do it, in my opinion, is check it outside before you ever install it.
Really and truly, if they've used it a lot, then they probably wouldn't be selling it.
Right. There's got to be a reason why they took it out.
Right. Okay. Well, hey, I learned something every time you're in it. This time that's what it's going to be, evidently. But outside of like starting our pilot light and stuff like that, of course, even on the big furnaces, a lot of times, we haven't used them in so long, the pilot light's out. So, we just need to call somebody to check that out, however many years. Or I know some gas companies and propane companies, you got to have somebody come inspect the line.
Right. Yeah, usually Ricky Cotton here in town, if you call Fortner's, Ricky's their guy, and he comes out when he hooks up your gas, and he'll check different things. He'll check for leaks, and they can recommend what you need to have done, and then you can get a hold of certified plumbers and people like that know how to work with pipe and know how to make sure it's sealed. There's certain tight tapes that you put on your joints if it's not a flared joint that's rated for gas. There's certain lines that's rated for gas. There's certain rules you got to keep in mind. If you're running a gas line under your house, you can't use plastic because mice chew into it. So you got to use copper. I know it costs more, but now you're safe because you don't have a gas leak. There's several things to it. It's not just simple as you see on DIY, just run this out there and hook this up.
Well, I don't know why not. They got all these neat little, plug them ins and clip them ins, and ooh, ain't it pretties,
Right.
But even outside on our pipes, and this is the one I always forget about, and when you go through and you've weed eated throughout the summer and all of our frost-free hydrants and that sort of thing, and back in the wintertime we had all this heat tape and we put it around there so that we could still water the animals. Well, the weed eaters probably hit it 4 or 5 times. How do we test that stuff safely and that we know that it's... Because a lot of it really to the touch isn't all that hot. It's just enough to keep the water from freezing, right?
Right. That's all it's there for. And if you're putting it on plastic crystallizes over time. So over time, your plumbing's going to bust because you've just baked it basically with this tape. So the best way to, you can check it and pull it out, check it, and make sure it's heating up like it's supposed to. It's not getting over hot. It doesn't have hot spots. But then there's a lot of primitive stuff that you may not even need that heat tape. If you'll close off your air vents around your home, buy a little sheet of styrofoam, put it in the hole if you need to. You got to block the air off from the pipe. So if you do that, you may not need that heat tape because your heating and air duct's probably losing enough air that it's going to heat the underneath your house the same way it's heating inside your house. So you can do that. Then you got the styrofoam boots that you put over your hydrant. That takes the wind off of there. Disconnect your water hoses because that's the number one thing that causes problems with the water. The hose will freeze, then it busts the hydrant.
Well, and you don't think about things like that either. That's how I end up having to go buy a new water hose every year because I forget about it.
And if you've never been under your house, your pipes run through the floor.
Right.
So you don't have to insulate the whole underside of your home because you don't have plumbing everywhere underneath your home. You may have one bay that plumbing pipe goes from the bathroom all the way to the kitchen. One roll of insulation sometimes for $40 can insulate your pipes. Then you're not worrying about, is the heat tape working? Is it kicking on? Is it kicking off? And for the $40 that you're spending on the heat tape, you can buy a roll of insulation out here at Cold Lumber.
Well, and what do we do with these gutters that have got, because last year I didn't even think about gutters freezing and busting until it happened to me last year. Again, a lot of things that you don't think about until they're an oopsie-doo.
Right. Well, right now is the time to start keeping an eye on them because you've already having your pecans and walnuts and stuff like that's already fallen. A lot of leaves are already falling from the wind that we had just 2 days ago. So now's the time to start keeping an eye on them. Kids aren't in school full-time yet. It's cheap labor. Take a ladder around, clean out them gutters right now. At least you've got a head start on what's going to fall as soon as the weather changes. And I think we're going to have a frost here pretty soon. So,
well, that's kind of what they're calling for. Now, if David Powell is right, it's going to be sooner than that. But the Farmer's Almanac's calling for October 14th.
Right.
So we'll see. Either way, we're talking about some more of a hard frost a lot earlier than what we normally do.
Right.
And on your, even down to your water bowls for your dogs outside, that sort of thing, they've come a long way in helping to not have frozen water constantly.
Right, and that's one of the things. Turning off your sprinklers right now. That's a big one that most people haven't thought about.
I wouldn't have thought about that.
Go ahead and get them sprinklers turned off. Why mow the grass again? So get the sprinklers turned off. Your roof leaks and you're painting outside and you're caulking outside. It's going to turn to a temperature where I cannot help you because it's below a certain degrees and you're just going to have to deal with that roof leak. So now's the time to do those inspections. Walk around your house, check your windows. For a couple of bucks, you can get a tube of exterior caulk. Get those cracks caulked up. Now's the time to do that. The air filters we've talked about, the fire alarm and batteries, little fire extinguishers. $5-6 for the real small ones. Put one in your house, one in your car. Right now's the time to do these things. A lot of people get overwhelmed with everything they've got to do to get ready for winter. And as a matter of fact, I had a lady this morning that called, elderly lady, tore all to pieces, said, I just can't handle no more, and now my door won't shut. And so she went into a little bit of it, and I said, well, I'm fixing to go on the radio. I said, but let me come on over and I'll take a look at what you got. It's about 10 minutes to 8. I got over there. She told me her heating and air was out. Neighbor checked it out. It's going to be $4,500 to replace it. Heating and air guy come over and confirmed, heating and air is out, got to replace it. She said then she noticed her water heaters went out. So she called a plumber, and he said, well, it's going to be at least $1,000 to replace it. Now she's up to $5,500, and now her front door won't shut. And she was almost in tears this morning. I said, oh, hang on. I said, when Moses led the Israelites through the Red Sea, he didn't remove the Red Sea. He just parted it, gave us a way to get through it. So let me check it out. Well, what it was is she put too much of that styrofoam stick-on around her door.
Oh.
She put too much of it, so now when it push it closed, it wouldn't latch.
Bless her heart.
I pulled off one layer of it. It works fine, seals fine. I said, well, while I'm here, let me check out your heating and air unit. I said, I'm not a heating and air guy, but let me just look at it. Well, as I was walking down the hallway to go to the breaker box to turn the power off to the air unit so I could go outside and see if I could see anything, a loose wire or something, the thermostat wasn't on.
Oh, no.
So I got to looking at it, and the batteries was dead. I went out to my truck, and I had some batteries in one of the pieces of equipment that we've got, threw two batteries in there. But the thermostat come on, heat and air fired right up.
I didn't even think about the thermostat's got batteries in it.
Right, so the heat and air fired right up. And she was so happy.
Well, yeah.
And so when I went back there to the back, I said, well, let me just take a look at your water heater. I couldn't figure it out for nothing, so I went over I was going to go get my electrical checker out, and I just happened to think, let me go check that breaker box. When the neighbor had looked at the heat and air unit and turned off the breaker to go outside to look at it, he also hit the breaker that had the water heater on.
Oh, no, honey.
So she had all three of her problems fixed this morning and didn't cost her a penny.
See, you never know.
So don't let this stuff overwhelm you. Don't let winterization overwhelm you. Just take it. If you start now, most of this stuff will be done, like stay build. You got a lawnmower, you got a tiller, you got all these pieces of equipment at your house.
Are you talking about that pink stable?
Yes.
Okay, now that stuff, I'm going to tell you right now, that is the big mamma jamma at my house, because you can put that even in the, like as a gas additive throughout the year.
Right.
That thing can really help clean out your motor of like your weed eaters and stuff like that. Oh, I believe in that stuff right there.
Get you some of it now for $3. And you don't have to add it to your list around the holidays when you're buying everything else. Go ahead and put it in your equipment. Fire up your generator. And then when you shut it off, put some in the generator. It's ready to go when you need the generator. Now you're not having to call somebody and all these troubles. You don't have power, you're losing this, you're losing that, but your generator's going to work because you've already checked it all out now.
Well, do we need to do that? I always forget to put additives in the gas, and then it gets old over the winter, and that's something we really need to do, right?
Right. I've already drained, like say, my tiller. I've already serviced my tiller, and I put Stay Built in it. So it's good to go for the rest of the winter. No worries. The generator, we fired it up last weekend, ran it for about an hour, cleaned out the filters, cleaned out the fuel bowl, put Stay Built in it. So now if we lose power, all I got to do is roll it out, plug a cord to it. We got power again. You know, all these little things are not really going to cost you much. It just takes some of your time. We're at home anyways, safe at home. You can go ahead and do these little maintenance things.
Well, it's about the time that we change our air filters in the house too, right?
Right. The air filters in the house, the filters in your air machines, air quality machines and stuff like that, because you're changing over from the pollen time to now to the gas stove times and indoor allergies. So it's time to start changing all these HEPA filters, the vacuum filters, all these different filters. It's time to start changing them.
Well, I didn't think about it. A lot of our refrigerators now have got filters in them for the water and the icing.
Right.
I didn't notice it the other day till it started blinking at me, and I thought, what in the world is that light? And that...
Right.
I'm not going to even want to admit how many years it's been since that's been changed.
That's a pretty good little hit.
Think about it.
Those are about $50, but it's something important if you're using the ice and the water out of your refrigerator.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us the dangers of remind us about heat lamps and things like that, because people are going to start pulling those out for animals and different things.
The main thing is that you're not using, check your cords, check your bulbs, check all the wiring going to it. GFI outlets. If you don't have a GFI breaker, get someone, electrician or whatever, to change your outlet that you're plugging these into to a GFI, so if any water intrusion gets there, it automatically kicks it there at the plug and doesn't short out and cause a fire. There's several different things like that. The newer heat lamps have thermostats on them, so you can set them for a certain temperature and they kick on and off. Run an extension cord out in your yard, plug these heat lamps up, and just let them be plugged up for 2 or 3, 4 hours outside in the yard off an extension cord. Then you'll know if it's going to work, if it's going to have a short, if it's going to fray, catch on fire. Go out there and feel around where the plug-in of the cord is and feel the cord itself. Make sure it's not getting hot.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really worth, because they're not that expensive. It's not really worth having the fire issues and losing your animals that you're trying to heat with them and things like that for the price of a heat lamp.
Well, you can lose a building real quick that way.
Real fast.
Well, thank you for coming in today, man. I'll tell you, there's just a lot of things that you don't, winterization is a list.
Right. Well, so I brought a list today.
Yeah, I will say he wrote a list. I was impressed.
Kerosene heater wicks. It's time to take a look at them.
I didn't think about that either.
Your tires. Go ahead and buy a $2 tire gauge.
Yeah.
Okay. The 4 tires that you look at, has got air in them, right?
Right.
What about that 5th one?
Oh, the spare.
You got to check the air in that spare. Yours is on the back of your vehicle, and you walk around it all the time.
I walk past it every day, and I never check it.
But it's not sitting on the ground, so you can't see if it's low.
But it looks perfect when I walk by, Donnie Adams.
Absolutely.
Smarty pants.
Wait till you put it on that truck, though, and it's half flat.
What are you trying to say? That is a good example, too. We need to make sure about the blankets and the candles and stuff like that now, too, right?
Right. Go ahead and get your emergency kit set together. And not only that, but go ahead and, if you've got vegetables out of the garden, set you aside some of your canned vegetables that you've already got. Set them in there. If nothing else, you can make a soup on a pot. It could be a vegetable soup without even beef if you have to, but at least you've got something to eat. We have been where there's been 3 or 4 days where we couldn't get to town. So you need to go ahead and have that prepared. And just set it to the side, set it in a closet somewhere in a tote, and don't touch it. Your batteries, your flashlights, your blankets, it's time to get them out. Those big quilts and those big blankets, you can't wash them at home. You got to take them to the laundromat. You've got time now to do it and have it ready. You got to get the dust and the pollens off of them. So it's time for that. It's your lock de-icer, window de-icer. It's time to start thinking about changing your vehicle over. You can get a little can of lock de-icer. Don't put it in your car, because the door lock freezes, so how are you going to get to the de-icer?
Oh.
Put it in your purse.
Now I feel like such a ding-dong by the time you leave every time. Because guess where mine's at?
It's probably in the glove box.
It's in the back of the Hummer.
Yeah, put it in your purse. That way you can take a little squirt into where you're going to put your key in, whatever, your house lock, your door lock. You've got your purse on you.
Yeah.
You got your keys in your purse, so your de-icer needs to be in the purse. And then you spray it in the lock, stick your key in, and go on in.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
And you know the one I hate is when you go out and you try to pull the handle and the car handle just about comes off in your hand, or you about break your neck, but the lock does not come unlocked, and that's what that's for.
Rub a little Vaseline on your seals when it's going to be a freezing rain or a freezing cold.
Vaseline.
Rub a little Vaseline on your car seal, that black seal that goes all around the car.
Like the rubber seal.
Right.
And what does that do?
It's a water repellent, and water can't freeze and stick the rubber to the car.
So if the water can't get to it, then it can't.
Well,
it's not
it can
freeze.
get to it, but it won't stick to it because the Vaseline's there and it breaks the seal.
That's such a good idea.
Baby oil will do the same thing. Anything that's slick or
what about kitty litter? Is there any truth to that?
There is, and I keep some in the truck. It will give you some traction. The main thing is just stay off the roads if you don't have to be on them.
Well, and that goes back to getting the soup so that you don't have to.
Right, but keep a bag of kitty litter in there. Keep a tow strap, because sometimes if you're in a ditch and you stop all these people, hey, can you pull me out? Well, I don't have a tow strap. Well, I got one in my trunk. So if you got one, then you don't have to worry about the other person having one. All they got to have is a vehicle. Then they can maybe get you out of that ditch.
Well, and I've been seeing a lot of those little jumper things that you plug in there, like little battery jumpers or whatever for your vehicle. Are they any good? Will that really do you any good?
They are good, and they will help, because you have an accident, you're stuck out on the road, you're stuck in a ditch, and your phone's starting to die. Your car won't start because you hit it from the ditch. Most of those new jumpers have a phone charger on them. So if you've got that jumper charged, you can hook your phone to it and charge your phone back up and still continue to make phone calls.
Yeah, is it something that if I charge these things up there, do they hold a charge for a while, or am I charging it every night?
No, they'll hold one until you use it, or 6 months or so. I check it all the time. Most of them's got a button that you can push, and it's got a check. And most of them's got an air inflator. For $99, Walmart has a great one. It's got an air inflator. It's got the cell phone chargers. It's got the jump cables. It's also a charger itself. So if you need to charge something, you can plug it in, charge off of it. And it's got a radio on it. It's got a light on it. For $100, you can't go wrong. Plug it up, throw it in the trunk.
I love that. And we got to make sure, again, antifreeze.
Antifreeze. And
do not take it for granted and say, oh, surely it's got some antifreeze in there. No, you'll find out the hard way.
Right, that and your window cleaner needs to be changed over to the de-icer window cleaner.
I didn't think about that either, because I got a whole jug out of that I bought last year. Now, how long does that stay? What about shelf life? Because I'll be honest, I bought some, like that de-icer that you put in your windshield wipers, because I'm lazy and I go to go work before the sun comes up. So, how long is? But I bought it when it was on sale at the end of last season. So is it still going to be good now?
Yeah, you should be. It's got a date on it, but normally 5-6 years. I've never had any longer than that, and it still worked at 5 years. So,
okay.
So.
You're a world of help. I don't know if you're helping me more or just making me feel stupid. What else you got over there?
I was looking to see chimney inspections, tire pressure, blankets out, gutters, fuel stabilizer, dryer vents.
What about dryer vents?
Well, it's fire safety week's coming up, and winter's coming up, so you got to make sure those the dryer vents are cleaned out.
How do you do that if you don't have like the special little doohickey that you've seen on TV?
On the outside, you got a vent where the lint and all comes out. Pull the little doors up and look in it with a flashlight and see if it's full of lint. If it is, it'll go on the inside.
You can really see it like right there?
Yes, you can see right there. It's only about a 8-inch piece of pipe that goes into your house, and then the hose from your dryer hooks to that on the other side of the wall. And it's usually got a pinch clamp. So pull your dryer out, pull that pinch clamp off, take the hose off the dryer, take it outside. If you got an air machine, blow it out. If you got a leaf blower, see, everybody thinks you got to have a wand and an air machine, but if you've got a leaf blower, you can stick it into the pipe and blow all the lint out of it.
It doesn't. Well, now that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then they've got a brush that you can buy at your hardware stores and all.
That's the doohickey I was talking about.
Well, you just run it down in it. You just run it down in it, and it brushes everything from the inside into internal units. And then if you need to, hold that little flap up where your filter's at, and take that leaf blower and blow in there and let it blow everything out from the inside. You got to clean it up, but it'll get the inside of the dryer clean.
That's what those teenagers are for.
There you go. And they don't start back to school for 2 weeks, so get it done now.
That goes back to that free labor right there. That's why we have them at the end of the day. Hey, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. I learn something every time he comes in. I see him all the time, but that's not usually what we're discussing at them.
That's usually not it.
Either that or I'm looking at him going, yeah, I forgot to do that thing you told me to do, and now I need you to come fix that thing.
Well, we're going to start our fire alarm giveaway probably next week for the fire awareness. So Be on the lookout on our Facebook page. We're going to probably have 2 to give away again this year. Like and share the page, make a comment, let us know what you liked and shared it, and we'll have a drawing probably in a couple of weeks, give away a couple of fire alarms for fire safety.
And that's got the monoxide thing right on it.
Usually one of them does, and one of them's just a fire protection.
Okay. Well, that's perfect. Thank you for coming in. Adams Construction Company, what all you do over there? Everything?
And we do every footer to foundation to roof, so there's nothing we don't do.
So what's your phone number?
270-625-5940, Adams Contracting at att.net, and we got Adams Contracting on Facebook.
And you know what? Give them a call, and you might be surprised.
Yeah, maybe we can help you over the phone if it's something simple, like a breaker being tripped, or give you at least some ideas where to start. And we won't steer you wrong. We know a guy, if nothing else. So.
I promise you he knows a guy. He probably knows more people than I've ever seen in my life. But Donnie Adams, we appreciate you. Tell Carol we said hi, and Lucas, good luck tonight at the football game. So everybody that's on the road, too, be careful on the road over to Mayfield tonight. So thank you a bunch.
All right.
Stick around. We got more Coffee Talk next.
How do we make America safe? I'm Amy McGrath, and I spent 20 years in the Marines and flew combat missions against terrorists. That's one way to keep us safe. I also believe we need the rule of law here at home. Everyone has the right to protest, and freedom of speech was one of the things I was fighting to protect. But looting and vandalism is a crime and should be fully prosecuted. And violence against police officers can never be tolerated. Mitch McConnell is trying to scare you and tell you I'm something I'm not. But this is what Mitch McConnell always does. He makes things up and divides people. We are in the middle of a very difficult time in our country, and Mitch McConnell's politics don't solve any problems. Whether it's helping us get through COVID, protecting our families, fighting for Kentucky jobs, or ensuring opportunity for every Kentuckian, I'm running for Senate, and I approve this message because as a Marine and a mom, I will always put Kentucky first.
Paid for by Amy McGrath for Senate.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Health First Community Health Center.
Community leaders around the area are supporting the greatest comeback of all time.
I know that all of our local businesses are supporting each other and doing the best we can to get our community back together and back in working order.
Thanks to all our customers and our friends who have come in and visit us.
And I've been hearing y'all say, shop local, eat local, and so that's what I'm doing.
Thank you to The Edge for, basically keeping everybody informed and supporting everybody, and it really does make a difference. So thank you so much.
We just appreciate all the people that have supported us through this. When we were shut down, we never closed officially, but we did have the retail floor closed, but we still had a lot of customers and still getting a lot of support from the community.
The greatest comeback of all time is underway. Continue supporting local. Together, we can make a difference.
Fortner Gas is a full-service propane company offering services in Western Kentucky. You'll find offices located in Princeton and Cadiz. They're your local and family-owned propane supplier. Browse their website and discover the many services and products available to you at Fortner Gas. You can shop in person or online, and they can answer any and all questions in person or on the phone. If they are already your propane supplier, they say thank you. If not, they'd love to be. Contact Fortner Gas Company, a family tradition of service since 1951.
Your home team at Trice Hughes wants to make sure your vehicle lasts as long as possible, especially since warmer weather means more driving. Trice Hughes reminds you that tire pressure is critical to maximizing the performance of your vehicle. From improved fuel mileage to smoother tire wear, make sure your tires are inflated to the correct PSI.
Trice Hughes is here for you and any questions you may have about your vehicle. Buy your next vehicle from the home team. Find them on Highway 91 North, Princeton, or at tricehughes.com.
1580 103.3 WPKY. And of course, we're heading down the track. It's Friday on a Coffee Talk, and we've got a Riley in the house, but a different one. Boy, she's prettier than that old HR is.
Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
No offense, Harold, but your hair's not curly like hers. Miss Mary Beth Riley, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a Friday. The sun's shining.
Yes, beautiful fall day, and I think we're going to have some beautiful fall weather this weekend. So.
Well, the Caldwell Medical Center. And I think that, don't get me wrong, the other day we were talking, when you guys were in here, we were talking about flu shots and how one lane out at the hospital, if you go right there at the front, I love how you're using that brick pavilion in the front.
Yes.
Because, come snow, frost, rain, whatever, you're undercover, and you got one lane that's flu shot and one lane that's COVID test.
Exactly. They have it all mapped out and ready to go and ready to serve the community. So it's a great service that the Caldwell Medical Center is offering for our community.
Well, you can actually get on both. You could drive through one direction, turn around, come back, get the other one, and then just go down and hit the house.
Exactly. Make sure that you're staying healthy and keeping the people around you healthy. So,
well, and doing a lot of this stuff, because when you go out there, there's signs and cones and masks and people everywhere. That takes a whole bunch of people.
Yes, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of behind the scenes, because you have to be registered before you come and get a COVID test. So we have a lot of staff people at the hospital just making sure the process is running smoothly and that we're taking care of the most amount of people that we can.
So, how do you get those volunteers? I mean, because I know even at the front desk, when you've got to go there's a smiling person at the desk.
Right.
How are you doing? Everybody, how's your mom and them? How do we get a hold of those people?
Well, right now we're actually looking for people to come and volunteer at the hospital because, with everybody, COVID has kind of taken a hit on our volunteer program. So we want to make sure that we're kind of reaching out. Anybody and everybody can come and volunteer. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time. We really encourage people. A 4-hour shift is a good time to come and work just once a week because you don't want to get to the hospital, get in a groove, and then have to leave. So anybody and everybody can come and volunteer. The only thing is you have to be 16 years or older, and that's just kind of protection. We work with patients and individuals in our community. So,
and by the way, how good would that look like on a college application?
Exactly. And if you're interested in the healthcare field, this is a good way to come in and see what it's like to work in a healthcare industry. So, yes, we would love to have anybody who is interested in healthcare.
Well, and what if, I've worried about that. That's a lot of years to spend in school if you don't know if that's really for you or not until you get into it.
Yeah.
And, this is a great way to kind of get your feet wet and don't spend 20 years hating your job,
Exactly.
Or if you say, I'm kind of skittish, maybe I just want to try. How about that? And then you find out, wow, that's something that's
exactly
for me.
And with our volunteer program right now, we do have a few restrictions on the patient care level because of COVID. So if you are somebody who is thinking about the healthcare industry, there's a whole lot of other careers at the hospital besides just nursing, working with lab. There's a lot of administration aspects in the hospital. So, and we are currently looking for volunteers to help with clerical stuff. So.
Well, because back in the day, I guess okay. I'm not meaning to offend anybody. I'm just saying. Candy stripers.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's what, but from back in the day, the little white and red striped uniform, that's what you think about when you think about volunteers at the hospital.
Exactly.
Is the candy stripers.
Exactly. And we have a lot of other positions that we need volunteers. Our hospital's really growing and booming right now. So we need people to help us with clerical stuff, whether that's just answering the phone, being that friendly face that you were talking about, directing people into the right direction. We need people to help in the cafeteria. So if you're interested in food service, we would love to have you help with that. And we need people with our environmental services. So that's people who keep our hospital clean and looking good. So there is a little bit of something for everybody.
Well, I think that's fantastic. Tell them how to get a hold of you and how to become one or whatever.
Okay, so the first step is, like you said, contacting me at the hospital. My name is Mary Beth Riley, and you can contact me at 270-365-0352, or you can just stop by. Of course, make sure you wear your mask. Stop by and ask to talk to me, and I will get you all the information. And then we'll ask you to fill out some paperwork, just kind of those housekeeping items, and then we'll go from there, kind of figure out where the best fit is for you in the hospital.
And just to remind them, too, I want to, might as well get that flu shot, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's that time of the year. I mean, we have COVID going on, and it doesn't look like there's going to be an end to that anytime soon. So just make sure you're keeping yourself healthy and getting the flu shot and keeping those precautions.
I'm going to remind them, too, this is not a live flu shot. So when you say, I'm not taking that thing because I get sick every time. No, you don't. It's not live, right?
Well, I don't know that because I don't have a medical background, but I think you're right. I think You're right.
The Caldwell Medical Center, the one that they're giving at Caldwell Medical. I can't speak for any place else, but we did talk to you guys just a couple of days ago, and they said, you know what, this is not a live flu shot. This is safe. You won't have to worry about getting sick. Your arm might be a little bit sore later. I mean, you are getting a shot at the end of the day. It's not a candy. You know,
exactly.
They might give you a lollipop. I don't know. But, you know, it's to keep you from getting sick.
Exactly. And that's the main point of our hospital is we just want to keep our community healthy, and we want to keep those individuals living the best lifestyle that they can. Right. So that's the reason why we offer those different services, the flu shots, the COVID screening. We just want to keep everybody safe and healthy.
Caldwell Medical, during, we had, I don't know, we were out there for some special function or something.
I think it was our health fair last year.
It was. And Joe Duncan.
Yeah.
I got my shot during that whole thing. And you know what? It takes 2 seconds flat.
Exactly.
And they're so good at it. So,
exactly.
And if it's free, what do you got to lose?
Exactly. It's just something, like I said, to keep you healthy and happy. And that's the main thing that we really encourage people to do is just keep our community healthy.
Well, we all appreciate it very much.
Well, thank you. And again, if you're interested in volunteering, we'd love to have you. You know, it's a great way to give back to your community. And this time that we're in, really thank the healthcare workers and help those people because, you know, there's a lot on our plates out there at the hospital with trying to keep up with flu, COVID. So we could really use some volunteers to help us out at the hospital.
You're busy.
Busy, but we like it that way.
I'll tell you, we love her to death. I don't know if we're going to give her back to you, Harold. Brother Harold Riley, you are a lucky man. You are very blessed, my friend. But Miss Mary Beth Riley, we appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you for having me.
You guys have really gone above and beyond during this whole thing at Caldwell Medical Center, and we appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a bunch. Oh, do you like a consignment sale, yard sale?
I've been hearing about that consignment sale.
Sure, this is a good one. Hang on down. Coffee Talk's coming up. Some more of it in just a minute.
You can always expect great things at Planters Bank. When we say expect great things, what we're really saying is Planters Bank is here to provide the financial services you need. Planters Bank believes in the strength of our community and is a full-service financial institution. Our employees have a true passion for helping our neighbors, and it shows. See Jake Pepper and the rest of the Planters Bank staff at 208 North Jefferson. Planters Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Local businesses have supported us in every regard. Now it's our turn to support them. Here's a way you can help.
There's never been a more important time than now to support local. When we say support local, we are referring to supporting our local business community, our local church families, our local clubs and organizations. There are many ways to show your support. Shopping locally first and foremost. Sharing positive messages about your efforts to support local. And yes, simply being kind, appreciative, and understanding of business owners, community leaders, friends, and neighbors who are working night and day to help our region have the greatest comeback of all time. This is Beth Mann with the Edge Media Group asking you, please support local.
The Edge Media Group encourages you to support local. Be sure to post what you're doing to show your support. #SupportLocal.
1580 103.3 WPKY Princeton. And of course, we've got so many things going on this weekend, but that's a good problem to have, I think, don't you?
I do.
Of course, Miss Sherri Beckner-Randolf, right?
That's me.
Just turn that mic around to you.
Okay.
Real quick. There we go.
Okay.
But we got a ton of stuff going on.
We do.
But that, I think when fall starts up, I think people are just ready for it. And I think this year we're like, bring it on.
Exactly.
And I thought it was amazing because not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago or so, I started hearing things about this consignment sale. And I was like, oh, that must be in one of the bigger cities or something. No, it's right here. How come a consignment sale?
Well, it's just something that I kind of been playing with for a while. Since Princeton doesn't have a consignment shop, I know a lot of people do consignment shops, both sell and shop consignment shops. And everybody has something that they bought that they didn't wear, or they've, like me, maybe outgrown, or your kids have outgrown, or you bought it for your kids and they didn't like it. So we all have those things in our closet.
You've met my kids, haven't you? Well, in all honesty, she's my cousin, so she probably has.
That's right.
But, when I just got knocked and kicked for this yesterday because we were looking at hoodies, and I'm like, oh, I want that one and that one. Yeah. And they said, no, because you have them hanging with tags on them. You're going to clean out your closet first.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
So I've been just playing with the idea of having a consignment sale, maybe having a shop. Of course, I work, so it would be, something on the side. But then one day when I went in Gordman's when they were closing and they were selling their racks, I thought, well, okay, this is a sign. Just go ahead and do it. Bite the bullet and do it. So I did, and I'm just having it right now. My mom and dad have a building on their place that I'm using. I'm trying it out. For a couple months. I'm going to have once a month, first weekend of the month, to see how it goes.
It's going to go good.
First for the consigners and for the shoppers, to see if we have both before I invest in a building or whatever and move it. So
well, how'd the consigners, how'd that pan out?
Oh, man, did that pan out?
I knew the answer to that
one. I actually had 35 consigners actually bring items, but they brought a lot. And but I had I have a whole bunch who said, and I understand they didn't have time to get it ready this month. I didn't give them enough notice, so the next month they'll have theirs. I myself, I'll be honest with you, I did not have time setting all this up. I didn't bring one item from my house.
Isn't that funny?
Not one item.
You know what though? We are. I'll get it out in a minute. It's past 9 o'clock. Can't talk anymore. But in our area, a lot of us are hardcore yard sale shoppers, especially if you've got kids.
Right.
That's how we get through it.
Right.
And still have money to eat at the end of it.
Exactly.
And when you're used to yard saling it up, we have not had yard sales to yard sale it up.
No.
So this is a great opportunity to kind of, be able to do it too without actually having to do it. You're doing it,
Correct. That's correct. I had them, you can bring your items tagged. You get a bigger percentage of the sale, or I would tag them for you. And I would say it was about 50-50. Half had theirs tagged and half we priced and tagged for them. But yeah, when you can just drop it off, that makes a big difference. And plus, it's I'm not putting down yard sales whatsoever, but it's a little higher quality. I mean, so don't come out there expecting to pay a quarter or 50 cents. I mean, they're not. I mean, you're still getting at a fourth or less of what you would pay originally.
Retail, right.
And some of them, like I said, still have the tags. We have all kinds of name brands.
Oh, I was watching your video this morning. I saw a Coach bag and an Under Armour hoodie. And I saw a Patagonia jacket. I was like, oh, what size is that?
I know. I did not even know what Patagonia was. Thank goodness for my niece, Chelsea Ardrey. She was helping me tag because she knows all the young people brands that us older folks don't know, and I was like, "What is?"
You can borrow my kids for a couple of days. They'll let you know. I got the football player and the band girl, the drumliner. So I mean, you between the two of them, it's about everything you can imagine.
I bet so. Well, this is a way that you can maybe come and get some things and make your butt go a little bit further.
Yes, I will. That's what we're looking for, especially going into the holidays.
Exactly.
Getting a little extra cash, that's not a bad thing. So tell us when we can come shop.
Last night we had the pre-sale just for the sellers who had brought items. They came. So today from 12 to 6 and tomorrow, Saturday, from 8 to 4.
Okay.
And I did want to mention that in case anyone is thinking of or scared of the COVID, that I have moved almost half of it outdoors, as long as it's pretty like this. So we can social distance. We have hand sanitizer, and so don't worry about the COVID. We won't get that close to you. We'll try to do our 6 feet social distancing.
So no hugging with the How's the Mama and them this weekend.
That's exactly.
We'll love each other, not hug. How
right.
about that?
And that's another reason I did it. It wasn't. I'm not doing this for the financial gain. It's more of a hobby to me, and I've seen people that I hadn't seen in years, and it's just fun. It's
fun. Is. It's a lighthearted thing, and
it is.
I think a lot of ladies, it's just kind of and don't get me wrong, the guys like it too. Some of them do.
Yes.
But especially, it just seems like the ladies just really kind of like to see each other. And the yard sale circuit, that's almost like a, hey, how are you? Where we expect to see each other on the weekend. Hey, did you see that sale, girl? I'm over there now. That's just kind of what we do, and that's something we missed this year. So I think that's great. We can bring it back.
I think so too. And I do want to mention that we have all sizes from infant up to, I think we have some men's shirts that are 5X. We have it's just a ton of stuff. I'm amazed. Like I said, I wouldn't even had room to bring anything from my house. If I'd had the time.
Right. Where are you located?
It's at 173 Etheridge Drive.
Where is that at?
If you go past Walmart, it's the first road to the right. You turn right there beside Fuller Physical Therapy.
Oh!
Last house on the left.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's just right out there off of Oak Connector Road.
That sounds good. See, that's easy. That's a lot. I know I can look it up on GPS, but that's so much easier.
Yeah, I understand.
That first road past Wally World. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, everybody knows where Walmart is. First road to the right past Walmart.
Okay. Well, and I did want to, you've got something else going on.
I do have something else going on that I would like to just throw a little plug in.
I was hoping that you would say something about it this morning because I know a lot of people know and adore and love your sister.
Yes. My sister, Stacy Travis, she is a preschool teacher at the Caldwell County Primary School. She is in dire need of a kidney transplant. She was born with one kidney, and it is... she's had a rough way to go. She is, she's 49, and she's had 49 years of kidney trouble because it's not a good functioning kidney. Matter of fact, last I heard, she's down to 5% kidney function in that one kidney. So she's going to have to be making some changes. She's trying to stay on and do her jobs till she can retire, but and stay off of dialysis. But she has a lot of trouble. She had a UTI last week and had. But anyways, long
now,
story
I will
short,
say she loves her kids and she wants
does.
to do nothing more than finish that out.
You know, I've always said if anybody could, she could have been on disability from day one, and she has plugged along. And you ask her, and she'll say, "I'm fine. I'm fine." She's not fine. She needs. She is O positive, so she needs a kidney transplant. And the list is so long that, she's been on it for a while, but we don't see any end in sight. So we're searching for a living donor. Living donors also, the transplant does so much better. There's a better rate of acceptance on a living donor kidney. So we were asking if anybody would be interested in being tested to see if they could donate a kidney. She's O positive, but you can be O positive or O negative, and she could still use your kidney. Or there's a program called Partner Exchange, where if you're that's what I tried to do. I'm B positive, but I went through all the testing. I went at no cost to me. I went all the way to the end of the testing to find out that my kidneys weren't functioning fully and was denied. But I wanted to be the partner where somebody in the whole United States could use my B positive and they had an O in their family that we could trade. And I failed at the very last minute. So, there's different options that you can do if you want to help. And if you just want to help by praying, we need prayers. She needs prayers. But it's at no cost to you whatsoever. It's very simple. There's a number you can call to talk to and I didn't bring that number with me, but I'm going to give you my number, and you can call me, and I'll give it to you. Call Vanderbilt Transplant Center. They're super nice. They talk to you, and they ask you some questions. And then if you pass those few little questions, they'll send you through UPS a kit to take a blood sample. You take it to your doctor, the hospital. Still, nothing costs you anything. Send it in, and they'll see if you match. And if it does, they'll schedule you for more tests. And it is a good way to find out if you're healthy. I mean, I found out I'm mighty healthy, except my kidneys weren't functioning fully, and I didn't know that.
There's a lot of people that don't even know what kind of blood type they are.
No.
So, I mean,
And if you don't know, call anyways, because they'll send you the kit and test you, and you'll find out. Or a lot of times you can call your doctor and ask them. But it's at all cost. And the way I understand it, I don't know a lot about donating a kidney, but a huge percentage can be done laparoscopically. And you can live perfectly healthy with one kidney, as long as that other kidney is healthy.
At the end of the day, it's a gift of life.
It is. It most certainly is.
I will tell you, she is the most humble, selfless human being I think I've ever met in my life. She has been a fighter since we were kids. Mm-hmm. And man, has she done so much for other people's children as well. And I will say, I think she's earned it.
Yes, she has, and it just killed her to have to ask.
Yeah,
she wouldn't. She waited till the very last minute to even let it be known that she needed it. She did not want anybody to know that. She didn't want to ask anybody for it. I mean, but I'll ask. My sister needs it, and if I could do it, I would do it. None of my family matches. So we can't, but...
Give us that phone number again.
My number is 270-625-8651, and that's just me, Sherri. You call me, and I'll hit you up with the right people, the Vanderbilt Transplant Clinic. I didn't even think to bring that number, but just call me, text me, whatever. I'll steer you in the right direction. And I want to say, too, I know that there's been people who have already called, and already there's been some that have sent their blood and been rejected for various reasons, and then there's still some waiting, and that means just as much as if you were donating it, because you're trying. Yeah. I mean, and we love, we can't say thank you enough to those people. And I do want to say, I did have one question one time about age and all of that stuff. The only thing is you can't be a minor, you have to be an adult. But there's not an age limit. We had one man that was near 80 who's trying. Weight, I mean, they'll tell you I'm overweight, and I was able. So if you think you can't, try it anyways. If you're on medicine, try it anyways. I mean, they'll tell you.
Doesn't hurt nothing.
No.
Especially if it's not going to cost you anything.
No, it doesn't.
None
of it costs you.
You can learn a little something. You never know.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much. Again, today, the hours for the consignment sale today and tomorrow?
12 to 6 today, 8 to 4 tomorrow.
Well, bless your heart, Miss Sherri Beckner-Randolf.
That's me.
We wish you all the luck in the world. And Stacey Travis, we love you, and we're praying for you, sweet cheeks.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
The voice of Caldwell County. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY, Princeton.
Lowe's has a brand new flooring showroom filled with all types of floors. Scratch-resistant floors for toddlers and their toys. Easy-to-clean carpets for canines. Stain-resistant floors for scrumptious suppers. Even floors for yogis finding out how flexible they are. There's floors for all, and they're all at Lowe's. Choose your style and have it installed for the holidays. Install available in-store only. Holiday install applies to basic install and subject to measurement and purchase date restrictions. Installer and product availability. See Lowe's.com for details and licensing. Contiguous U.S. only.
This is a Fox News alert. Former Vice President Joe Biden putting out a statement on news that President Trump and the First Lady have tested positive for COVID-19.
Jill and I send our thoughts to President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump for a swift recovery.
Fox's Tanner Smith also reporting that the Democratic nominee who shared a debate stage with President Trump Tuesday will be tested today.
The president's positive result came after he spent months playing down the severity of the outbreak. The president and the First Lady will now quarantine in the White House for an unspecified period of time, forcing the president to withdraw at least temporarily from the campaign trail. The White House did not say how long President Trump would have to remain isolated, but it canceled his plans to fly to Florida today for a campaign rally.
Fox's John Decker, Vice President Pence has tested negative. I'm Lillian Wu, and this is a Fox News Alert.
With United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, there's so much to take advantage of, like $0 copays on primary care doctor visits and lab tests.
Wow.
Plus $0 copays on virtual visits.
Wow.
It's time to take advantage.
Wow.
To learn more, visit AdvantageWow.com. That's AdvantageWow.com.